Good evening, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritzma here, alongside just myself. We're coming to you live with a severe weather briefing this evening. It is August 14th, 2025. It is a Thursday evening here in the middle of summer. We're getting towards the dog days of summer, I guess you could say. Let me know if you guys can hear me. Hit that like button on the way in. Show you guys care, like, and share, as we always say here at MSC. And we'll get started here in just a second. We have a couple things to go over today. This is kind of a severe weather briefing, but we'll also go over kind of the temperatures for this weekend as well, and when exactly to expect severe thunderstorms if they were to occur. Perfect. Sounds like everyone can hear me, so we'll go ahead and get started by running through the temperatures for this weekend. So we'll go ahead and we'll go to the NAM because this is going to cover all 3 days here across the state of Michigan. Some of our short-range models are not quite in range yet, so keep that in mind. We can't use the HRRR, for example, because that doesn't go out all the way through Sunday. So here we go. Again, let me know if there's any technical issues. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get started and roll right through this. So we start with today. Obviously, today's temperatures in the low to upper 80s. Nice, comfortable one out there today with the dew points kind of lower. That will change starting tomorrow. Temperatures widespread across the state in the mid 80s, maybe up into the high 80s in some spots, especially the urban heat islands such as Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, and even down there towards Detroit. You can see there on the screen there's little bubbles on the map of where the urban heat islands are located. With that also comes our dew points starting to rise up tomorrow as well. It starts tomorrow night. You can see temperatures for dew points tomorrow night, not that bad, but again, compared to what we've been this summer, it's kind of been just plugging and chugging in terms of the dew points, and those will get worse as we get into Saturday, where dew points will also be higher into the low 70s, and then as we get into Sunday, those dew points do start to taper off as the front moves south. But going back to those temperatures real quick, they kind of go hand in hand in terms of how hot and sticky it'll feel out there this weekend. Again, Saturday temperature is going to be up into the mid 80s there. And then on Sunday, as that front kind of meanders its way across the area, temperatures start to decrease a little bit. The NAM favors more of a southward shift in the latest run. I can guarantee you, though, that it will be a little bit higher than what the temperatures are showing here on your screen. If we go to the Euro, for example, those temperatures do increase a little bit further north into central and northern lower Michigan there. So throughout the weekend, 80s are expected across the lower peninsula. A little bit cooler the further north you go up to there towards Alpena and Mayo, and up there towards Sheboygan. But overall, it's a weekend where it'll feel like summer. The only problem is we have to deal with some of our storms. So those are the temperatures, those are the dew points. What exactly is going on for this weekend? Well, we'll start by going back to the HRRR run and switching over to our precipitation with cloud cover, so you can kind of see both cloud cover throughout the weekend and where the storms may hit if they were to hit. So again, don't take this as verbatim. This may change in the coming models. We have a new HRRR run coming out here in about an hour or two that we'll also kind of keep in mind for forecasting for tomorrow. And we'll have severe weather outlooks issued on our page first thing tomorrow morning. Well, I should say probably in the mid-mornings to afternoon hours tomorrow. So keep that in mind. We'll go ahead and get started here looking through our model runs starting tomorrow morning. Rain showers mainly over in Wisconsin. Not really doing a whole lot. I actually need to go back to our 18Z because that's going to go out the furthest. Again, anywhere you see the blue on here is going to be your clear skies for tomorrow. So mostly sunny skies are expected. Then we get into the evening hours, really around that 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central Time. We could see some thunderstorms start to pop up in the Keweenaw down towards western UP over there near Ironwood. And then that line may increase in size as we get into the evening, mainly in the 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock hours. And then as we lose that surface heating throughout the evening hours, that's when our storms start to dissipate just a little bit. However, because there's going to be a lot of instability out there this weekend kind of building along that front, these storms can and may stay severe into the overnight hours. We have another line here showing up on the screen for, this is going to be about 3 a.m. in the morning on Saturday, and that will roll into perhaps portions of northern lower early Saturday morning around sunrise. On top of that, we also have to deal with perhaps back-to-back lines of storms with a lot of intense rainfall, and so we could see a little bit of flash flooding pop up with that, and we'll get into that here in just a second. But you can see that rain continues across northern Michigan, primarily on on Saturday in the early morning hours, and then we have to watch mainly Saturday evening here, as we could see a bigger system move into the region. Perhaps could be a little bit of a Boeing segment, what we call an MCS, which is kind of like a miniature low pressure system that moves a little bit quicker than a normal low pressure system and can bring a widespread damaging wind event. So we'll keep an eye on this real close. This is the furthest out this radar goes. If we switch over to the NAM 3K, we'll go out a little bit further. I will say this, the NAM run from 18Z, which was 2 p.m. this afternoon, versus the one that came out at 8 a.m. this morning, they are two totally different stories. If we go ahead and switch back to the 12Z this morning, I don't even know if it goes out that far. It really doesn't, but you can see that line of storms really starts to pop up in northern Wisconsin. That would be around 8 p.m. Saturday evening. Now you throw that forward again into the 18Z run, and you can see those storms fire up at 11 o'clock, and way over here in the thumb of Michigan, and the second, it kind of splits around the state of Michigan. So if you don't want storms, this latest run from the NAM 3K is what you're rooting for, because you can see it kind of splits around. The thumb still gets hit, but the main segment over there in Wisconsin does a 90-degree turn and goes straight south. And that's something we have to watch out for with these MCSs. They're very unpredictable when it comes to their, I would say, a decaying process. When it decays, it can go in 90-degree angles to the north or to the south instead of kind of maintaining its strength. It really just follows the instability gradient along kind of the edge of that warm front. So NAM right now really can't make up its mind. If you are team no storms for the weekend, you're rooting for this 18Z NAM run. If you want storms, then you're rooting for that 12Z NAM run. And again, we'll have a 00Z NAM run coming out in about 2 hours from now, and that will be factored into what our forecast may look like for tomorrow for our severe weather outlooks, both tomorrow when severe weather is possible in the UP and on Saturday for the lower peninsula. If we go ahead and take a look at some of our other models, we can know, because again, every single one has a different story. It's kind of like if you were in a classroom and you had 20 different kids hand in an assignment. They're all going to look a little bit different. And so that's kind of what we have with these weather models here. It does agree that Friday evening looks to be a story for the Upper Peninsula, Western, and Central. Again, this is around 6 o'clock. It starts 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Really starts to fizzle out around 11, but may maintain some of its strength overnight, as mentioned, into Saturday morning. The displacement here is a little different. It does not have that extra line in the northern portions of Lower Peninsula, but it does depict a perhaps line of damaging winds moving through Saturday afternoon and evening. And that's the story there so far. And again, Sunday, we're not expecting any severe weather. I should mention this right now. Sunday, we're not expecting any severe weather at the current time, but the boundary kind of sticks around for the entirety of the weekend. It kind of wobbles back and forth a little bit, and on that boundary is when we can see a lot of enhanced lift, and storms really start to build up on that. So we could see some pop-up storms on Sunday. Right now, not expecting those to be severe, but keep it in mind. Again, we are in summertime here in Michigan with the influence of the lakes and everything. There's a lot going on. My cat wants to be let out. Give me a sec. Just interrupting the briefing. Thanks. There we go. Forgot he was in here. Anyways, back to what we were talking about there. I gotta have to collect my thoughts. Is there any other model runs we can go over here before we go into rainfall? We'll go to the RFS, see if that's updated. This has not really been doing too well in terms of updating on the site recently. I think they've kind of figured out the bugs though. So let's go through it. The RFS has the same story for Saturday evening. A little bit of a later start according to the RFS in the UP, but nonetheless, a couple scattered showers and storms, perhaps severe, for Western and Central UP. So pretty much every single model is agreeing that somewhere tomorrow night, Friday night, in the UP, primarily after that 6 o'clock time frame, you really could see some severe storms up there, primarily west of Marquette towards the Porcupine Mountains. Then we go into Saturday. Saturday on the RFS has pretty clear skies until the main system comes through on Saturday evening. And look at this. Instead of taking a 90-degree, like I just said, instead of taking a 90-degree turn to the south, the RFS is like, no, let's change it up a little bit. Let's go north. And so this has most of this Boeing segment going to the north. It does kick off other Boeing segments a little bit further south throughout the evening, but it looks like the primary focal point from the RFS is 5 p.m. here on Saturday evening for the UP. So that's a totally different story from what we were seeing with the HRRR and the NAM runs. But nonetheless, it still has a couple of Boeing segments that kind of spits off on the bottom portion, and this is going to be closer to that 10 o'clock p.m. time frame Saturday night. We're hoping it's on overnight threat, but that it could be a possibility. And then again, this boundary, you can visibly see it here on the RFS. Those storms kind of just ride right down that boundary. We could see a little bit of a flash flooding threat come in for Sunday. Not a whole big, probably like a 5% chance. The main concern is going to be Saturday, where we're going to get a lot of rain up in the UP. Let's go take the NBM again, since we've gone through all of the models for severe weather this weekend. We'll go ahead and check in on our precipitation, because this is also a story for what we could expect throughout the time period of this weekend. The NBM, which is basically an average of all of our weather models combined, shows you pretty much the UP getting slammed, and that is actually shown right here on the Weather Prediction Center Day 3 outlook. So this is Saturday, keep that in mind. Anywhere in that yellow zone, that is a slight risk for flash flooding. That means a 15% chance to see flash flooding within 25 miles of a point inside that yellow zone. In the green, that is a marginal risk for flash flooding, a 5% chance within 25 miles of a point. If you are not in any zone, then obviously you are not in risk for flash flooding on Saturday. Again, those storms will be arriving really late on Saturday for places down in southwest Michigan and southeast Michigan if it makes it that far. So keep that in mind. Your Saturdays down there in the southern portion of the state are going to be relatively clear compared to places up north. We could still see a couple pop-up showers and storms throughout the day on Saturday if one of the HRRR models comes true, because the HRRR does really good on pop-up storms. And as of lately, there's been a couple of those runs that have shown pop-up storms, but not all of them. So keep that in mind. No big systems really in flash flooding until very late Saturday into Sunday, if anything, for southern Michigan. But that is your flash flooding threat for Saturday across the state of Michigan. Over 3/4 of the state in some sort of flash flooding potential. Now again, this is not guaranteed. A 15% chance in the slight risk zone means there's also an 85% chance that you don't get flash flooding. But it is heightened. It is a non-zero chance there. And so we'll have to keep an eye out for that. I am curious to see which of these models is going to give us all of that rain. The Euro doesn't have it. The GFS has it, but it's more, oh my goodness, look at that in Wisconsin. It has it shifted more into Wisconsin, where values of 4 to 7 inches are possible there. We'll go switch to our shorter range models. That has more of a swath in Wisconsin as well, although there's a lot of sprinkled in 1-2 inch accumulations in the UP. And the HRRR, I think, is in range here that we can maybe use it through Saturday. Yeah. See, that has most of it in Wisconsin, which I will say this. I was reading through the Weather Prediction Center's slight risk, and they said they may include a moderate risk upgrade for portions of Wisconsin, northern Wisconsin, perhaps southern UP. For Saturday, they are monitoring it right now. So if anyone's going to get a deluge of rainfall on Saturday, it would be extreme southern UP and perhaps into the far northwest corner of northern lower Michigan. Let's see, the SREF mean. SREF mean does a pretty good job too, because that's kind of like an average. Again, really honing in on that northern Wisconsin portion, perhaps southern UP for the heaviest of that rain. So that's kind of what we're going to go with in terms of a rainfall map. That will either be released later tonight or first thing tomorrow. You'll likely see the highest values shown up there in the UP and perhaps portions of northern lower Michigan. Now, unfortunately, it does not mean good news for West Michigan, which really needs the rain still. But again, shifts can change, and you see that boundary visibly shifting in some of our model runs here, where precipitation could be coming over the same area over and over Saturday into Sunday. So don't count yourself out of the woods yet if you're looking for rainfall Saturday, late weekend, Saturday into Sunday, West Michigan, Central Michigan, because again, that boundary is going to shift down south, and it may sit over West Michigan, Central Michigan, and perhaps even into Southern Michigan, where some of you guys need rain too, primarily in the early morning hours on Sunday. So keep that in mind. All that being said, we can go ahead and take a look at the Storm Prediction Center's outlooks for this weekend. So again, this is what they have out there. This is going to be a marginal risk for the western UP, kind of similar to what we were seeing on the model runs there. There's a slight risk down in Wisconsin, and really no risk for thunderstorms in general tomorrow here in the state and the lower peninsula, primarily all up in the upper peninsula. Day 2 shows a different story. Obviously, that's when it starts to, day 3. That is going to be Saturday, and that has pretty much the entire lower peninsula and most of the upper peninsula in at least a marginal risk for severe weather. And you guys are probably asking yourselves, is there a chance for an upgrade? And my answer to that right now is absolutely. Again, when we see these Boeing segments and these MCSs rolling across, Minnesota, Wisconsin, absolutely they'll get a slight risk back there for sure once the models kind of come into agreement. And we could easily see that move across Lake Michigan into portions of probably, at the current time, the model average is going to spit it out in northwest lower. So pretty much north of Whitehall, north of Ludington, and most of northern lower Michigan. Again, we could still see shifts south, but at the current time, most of these shifts are putting it through central and northern lower Michigan on Saturday over and over again, which would also come with that flash flooding risk. All that being said, we came up with a 3-day forecast for each zone for the weekend. So we'll go one by one here. Southern Michigan for Friday, mostly sunny, 85 degrees. This is an area-wide average. So if you are from Muskegon, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Flint, and points south, so that's really if you live along 96 and 69 and live south of the highways that I just mentioned, this is the forecast for you guys. Mid-80s as mentioned throughout the entire weekend. 87 there Saturday, pop-up storms possible, otherwise strong storms possible late. And then on Sunday, with that boundary kind of wobbling across the area, we could see a chance of pop-up storms there. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies for your weekend there, end of the weekend on Sunday across southern Michigan. Central Michigan, a little bit cooler, still fairly warm out there, very humid. 83, 86, and 81 are your 3-day forecast temperatures there. Again, mostly sunny on Friday. Saturday, widespread thunderstorms across the area, including some strong storms at night, and then pop-up storms there on Sunday. We go into northern Michigan. Temperatures just go down a little bit more, mostly sunny on Friday. Thunderstorms throughout the day on Saturday. Could be a little bit of flash flooding threat, as mentioned, and then pop-up storms on Sunday with a high of only 75 up there area-wide. And we go and end it in the Upper Peninsula, which is pretty much from Newberry to points west. Northern Michigan, by the way, includes Sault Ste. Marie, that previous slide. So Upper Peninsula here, 80 degrees for your day tomorrow. Thunderstorms will start to cool it down, though, and we get thunderstorms pretty much every single day possible, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. More in the pop-up variety there on Sunday with the boundary still trying to wobble back to the west. And we could see additional precipitation as well, showers and storms on Monday if that boundary continues to stick around then. But again, we're just going over the weekend forecast right now, and especially the severe weather outlooks for the next 2 days. If we get into Saturday and we see severe weather pop up for Sunday and Monday, that's when we'll start to talk about it then. But again, we just have to get through tomorrow and Saturday first. So those are your 3-day forecasts for the state of Michigan, and that is pretty much all there is to say about this briefing. Again, this is the NAM 3K run, as I mentioned, for this weekend that I was talking about. So this has it splitting, as you can see, splitting and going south along and around Michigan, and also having a secondary line just go through the thumb. Whereas you compare that to that 12Z run earlier today, it starts to pop up that line way up in northern Wisconsin, and ideally probably moves into lower Michigan. Yeah, so this is the high or the lower resolution. So this is the same NAM run, but it goes out 24 hours further, and so that shows the progression of that Boeing segment moving more into West Michigan and Southern Michigan overnight. So those in the span of 6 hours, I'm telling you guys this, the NAM has went from Michigan's getting hit to Michigan's getting split, and that's why we have to kind of wait and see how the NAM kind of fares with all of the rest of our models, essentially. So once we get into tomorrow, we'll know more on Saturday. And again, we'll have forecasts out for you guys on our Facebook page, X, and Instagram pages, as well as Threads as well. Our username on all those, MI Storm Chasers. Feel free to follow us on all of those. We'll have those forecasts posted for you. Again, sometime tomorrow morning or afternoon. We've got a busy weekend on tap personally here at MSC. I will mention this. For those who have not seen the news yet, we are hosting a meet and greet and also launching a line of beer. There's 3 days you can come out and see us this weekend. We're going to be down in Kalamazoo. We have a link on our Facebook page. It's pinned at the top underneath our video promo for it. It's an Eventbrite. It's free to sign up. Just feel free to. It's basically let us know if you're coming or not and how many people to expect. But the link is there to RSVP for the event. It is 2 to 5 at Latitude 42 in both Oshtemo and Portage, Michigan. So those are both in the Kalamazoo area. Both restaurants there. We are launching a line of beer. It's called Brewing Storm. I think it's a wheat ale. Chandler would know more about it. But again, good times will be had. It's a meet and greet for you guys to meet us and get to know us a little bit more. And we'll be there to answer all your questions in person and hopefully get to know some of you guys as well. So we're excited for this weekend. We will still have somebody covering the desk. I believe it's going to be Ryan for the weekend in the event that there is severe weather. So we're not all leaving our post, but we will have someone covering for severe weather in the event that does happen. And again, the brewing storm meet and greet at latitude 42 is from 2 to 5 each day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this weekend. So if severe weather happens later in the evening, a lot of us will probably be out chasing, probably around the Kalamazoo area, because a lot of our chasers are also going to be coming to this event too, and we'll probably spread out from there. But again, it's going to be a 2-for-1 weekend. We got severe weather going on. We got a meet and greet going on in Kalamazoo. So we're excited to meet you guys, but we will always be on top of things for severe weather coverage here at MSC when the time is right. So again, the link to RSVP is on our Facebook page. It's the video. If you go to our Facebook page, Michigan Storm Chasers, and click on that video at the top, the video promo, in the comments section there's a link to RSVP. Anyways, all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go to the comments. Got to open up the stream here. Sorry if you guys heard an ad. Somewhere with a $4.99 super chat over here on YouTube saying, I'm tubing on the Huron River in Ann Arbor Sunday or Saturday. Thoughts on that? It's a bad idea. Just keep a radar on you. Saturday will be primarily a nice day across the Lower Peninsula. Most of the action is going to stay to the north. But again, pop-up showers and storms can't be ruled out just because we're in the vicinity of a boundary, call it a front across the area. And you never know. Again, just have a radar on you. You should have a good Saturday. Really starts to pick up Saturday into Sunday, Saturday evening into Sunday. So if you get out there earlier, better chances of getting it done. So we'll have our probability-based maps out on, well, tomorrow, I should say. We'll have our first look at probabilities for each hazard in terms of your area in the neck of the woods. Again, sometime in the morning to afternoon hours tomorrow, so you guys know what to prepare for both tomorrow evening, if you're in the UP, and Saturday, if you are in the remainder of the state. It could downgrade, absolutely. Back to, what's it the NDFD has? A little bit over an inch for the UP for rainfall there. Back to the HRRR just to go through the projected reflectivity again. Just for those who are who may just be tuning in right now just to see what the projected radar is supposed to look like for this weekend. Now, again, it's not going to be exact, especially with an MCS, but here we go. So this is starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow. This really just shows some pop-up showers, not really a whole lot going on there. But let me look towards the 6 o'clock time frame on Friday, Friday, 6, 7, 8 o'clock. That's really when it starts to pick up its steam across the Upper Peninsula. Lasting through about 11 o'clock on Saturday. We could see multiple lines form along that boundary as it's still up to the north Friday night into Saturday morning, primarily for northern Michigan. So it could be back-to-back-to-back lines in some instances, and that would result in some flash flooding for places up there, which is why that slight risk is in effect. This is going to be at 8 a.m. on Saturday. There is 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. That's 2 p.m. So it has a little bit earlier, perhaps moving in by 5 o'clock for portions of West Michigan on Saturday. Again, this is as far out as the HRRR run goes at the current time. Once that 00Z run comes out in about an hour from now, we'll see through 8 p.m. Saturday. So it'll give us another 6 hours we can see here on the HRRR in terms of what the precipitation may look like. But there is a lot of instability out there this weekend with how hot it's going to be. Instability is our storm fuel. Those yellow values and higher are all primed and juiced and ready for severe weather to occur. The more CAPE we have, the more instability we have, I should say, the better chance at seeing damaging winds and really an all hazards threat. Just looking through a bunch of our products here. There's our significant tornado perimeter here. I haven't really mentioned tornadoes yet. I think the main threat with these lines this weekend, again, with MCSs, obviously you can absolutely get spin-up tornadoes within a line if there's enough shear available. But at the current time, there's weak shear in terms of speed or directional shear. So keep that in mind. It's mainly going to be damaging winds and perhaps a little bit of embedded hail if there were to be severe weather this weekend. But again, with any squall line, you can get those brief spin-ups we are very accustomed to here in the state of Michigan, as that's pretty much been every single tornado we've had in Michigan so far this year. That RFS run is very interesting in terms of placement of that Boeing segment, putting it really far north. But it's still, like I said, still spits out those lines further south into early Sunday morning. It's for those who are curious about the beer for our meet and greet tomorrow. It's called, again, the beer is going to be called Brewing Storm, and it is a American wheat ale. It is made with red and white wheat and Saz hops, according to Chandler behind the scenes here. So if that is something you're interested in and coming to see us as well, feel free to RSVP on our page. Again, it's free to attend as long as you RSVP and let us know you're coming. We'd love to see you. And again, either location, either of the Latitude 42 locations, Oshtemo or Portage, will be split between the two. We'll likely have a some sort of list out on our page either this later this evening or first thing tomorrow morning in terms of who's going where for this weekend, in terms of who you can meet at what location. Thank you for linking that, Julie. Appreciate it. So for those who are watching on YouTube, the link to our post to sign up is now there. Any other questions? We have a small gathering in here tonight. Did you guys ever think that starting this group would make you celebrities? I mean, honestly, no. And I will say this, our live streaming really kind of just came out of the blue. We started it kind of was a little bit of my idea. It was a little bit of a combination of everyone's idea, though, here between Chandler, Ryan, and I. Back in 2023, I started just messing around on our streaming software that was free at the time, just to see what we could do. And I tried doing like a live coverage one day, and it stuck. People really appreciated it. And for those who have been here since 2023, 2022 even, you guys probably remember some of those streams. But in 2023, we had the Colon storm that Ryan was chasing. That was really the kickoff of our wall-to-wall severe weather coverage. And then obviously we had the Williamston and Weberville days in August of 2023, as well as Perry. I can't forget Perry. Perry and Williamston, Weberville, those two separate days of tornadoes are 2 weeks apart on the exact same day, technically speaking, about 2 weeks apart. And that was really when our channel started to kick off here. And we did not expect to grow to the numbers we are at today. We are now 469,000 strong on Facebook and about 62,500 strong here on YouTube. So I appreciate each and every one of you for following. But celebrity status, obviously we're not there yet, but we do appreciate you guys. And it really just, personally, it really doesn't, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like it really doesn't like hit you. it makes any sense. Because technically speaking, I'm always sitting here behind the screen talking to you guys, but I can never see you guys, so it feels like I'm just vlogging essentially into the abyss. But I know you guys are there. We always see you here on stream. The chat's always flying through, and we appreciate you guys all for tuning in. But I think it's just the aspect of I never really get to see you guys because we're always streaming behind a screen. But again, that will change tomorrow. Obviously, when I go to the meet and greet and I get to meet some of you guys. So I hope to see you there, and it'll probably set in a little bit more once I go to the meet and greet. Let's see. Yeah, some of you guys do remember the August 2023 streams for sure. Summer in here watching ever since the Colon tornado in 2023. That was basically our first big stream that we did. Imagine trying to fight all of us at once. That would be a real nightmare. LOL. We're not gonna fight anybody. Come on now. Shout out to Mookie with the 5 Get to memberships here on YouTube. Appreciate you, Mookie. And shout out to those who are subscribed on YouTube that have just been gifted courtesy of Mookie. So, encouragement to subscribe here on YouTube. It's free to do if you have a Google account. Hit that subscribe button if you're watching. So the storms this weekend will be moving from pretty much west to east. And as that boundary shifts, the storms will move from northwest to southeast, kind of similar to a couple events we've had in the past. I'm just reading through chat here. You guys have all the stories for sure. It really does hit home when we hear about stories of survival thanks to our streams. You don't really realize it until after it's happened. You're like, that really made a difference, and that's what we're here to do. We have a multitude of different goals here at MSC. Obviously, we want to bridge the gap in communication between you guys and the National Weather Service or the news, so that way we can get these storm reports that you guys send in directly to the National Weather Service office, because not a whole lot of people directly know how to do that, and we want to be that outlet for you guys to use. And so that's why we always request damage reports and stuff on our Facebook groups, in Messenger, on our Discord server, you name it. We always want to try and get those reports out as soon as possible so that the National Weather Service can issue those warnings. But again, it all really boils down to making sure we got you guys covered from beginning to end. That's literally our motto here at MSC. We've got you covered from beginning to end, and that happens to do with our severe weather coverage here at MSC when we are live from the very first warning to when the last warning is done. And even then some, you guys know this for those who have been watching for a while, we are live sometimes after the last warning expires, just to be watching out of an abundance of caution. So we really want to just make sure everyone is getting the severe weather coverage that they need and deserve, and stay live for you guys just in case that storms may go severe again. Now, I will say this, it's been requested a couple times in here in chat. Timing is going to be very, very rugged. You guys have just seen every single model that's come in. Every single one has a different timing. Right now, the only thing that's really solidified in place is tomorrow night in the UP. That's going to be primarily after 6 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central. Between that 6 o'clock time frame and about midnight is the window for severe for the UP. It could last into the overnight hours if some MCSs can maintain strength and push themselves into northern lower Michigan. But the primary focal point is going to be that 6 to 12 o'clock window tomorrow night in the UP. That's the best time frame we can give you right now for Friday. For Saturday, it's kind of a wait-and-see game, and we'll kind of get more advice, guidance here on our models as Friday plays out, because whatever the boundary does on Friday will greatly impact what happens on Saturday. So you could call this basically a conditional threat. So the word I was looking for there. Anything else? You guys got us through the Portage tornado in May of 2024. Yeah, we're glad to do it. That was a very, very scary night for a lot of us here. A lot of us were out chasing that day too. Ryan and I were actually both chasing that day. We had actually Nick on the coverage, who just retired from MSC. But that was a very interesting night. Again, that was the first tornado emergency that was issued in the state of Michigan ever, courtesy of the National Weather Service in northern Indiana. And for those who don't know what a tornado emergency is, that is essentially a level 4 tornado warning. So not a whole lot of you guys probably realize that warnings are tiered, because ideally what it boils down to is if you hear warning, you should be taking shelter immediately. But here behind the scenes from a meteorological perspective, we see the warnings are tiered. So tornado warnings have 4 different levels. They have radar indicated, so that's when you see rotation on radar. That's what we saw with the Midland storm a couple days ago, and I think it was 2 days ago now. Then we have observed tornado warning, which is a level 2. Then you have a PDS tornado warning. That would be a particularly dangerous situation. That's what PDS stands for, at level 3. So that's not only there's a tornado on the ground, but a large and extremely dangerous tornado on the ground. That's when they would issue a level 3. And then level 4 is reserved for the utmost severe of tornadoes, where there is confirmation of a very large debris ball on radar. Multiple chasers are reporting a violent tornado ongoing. And it's just like overall a lot of confidence that it's going to do destruction to life and property, especially in urban areas. So we saw that issued with the Colin Sherwood tornado back in May of 2024 last year, which was just south of that Portage tornado at the same time. They were on the ground at the exact same time. And also, for those who don't know, that Colin Sherwood tornado was a dead man walking tornado, which is usually a sign of a tornado that was very violent in nature, likely EF3 strength or greater. But because the tornado didn't hit anything too substantial, it was rated EF2. That was definitely a day for us that we will never forget. And we have a documentary, actually. If you really want to learn more about that tornado and what we were doing that day, we actually have a documentary here on our YouTube channel, MI Storm Chasers. Just search Michigan Storm Chasers here on YouTube if you're not watching on YouTube. And just scroll down, put in the search bar our documentary for that day. And yeah, you can see all of our thoughts on that day. But this year, so far, I'm just speaking the truth here, we have not seen any significant tornadoes. So that would be EF2 or higher. We've had a somewhat record year for tornadoes this year in the state of Michigan. We're up to 30 now. But every single one of those tornadoes has been EF1 or lower. So most of them have been weak spin-ups. Some of them have been on the ground for 10 to 15 minutes, but they're still doing minimal damage. And so hopefully we'll keep it that way if we do get tornadoes through the end of the year this year. Again, we do not want to see destruction like we saw last year in 2024. But this weekend, as I mentioned here at the beginning of the briefing, or in the middle of the briefing, tornadoes not really expected, but they are possible within any of those squall lines. You could get those what are called QLCS spin-ups, which again would be just like what we saw multiple times this year. Other than that, though, we're going to go ahead and hop off for the evening. Ryan will probably be live with a briefing tomorrow night, if I had to imagine, if there is time for a briefing before severe weather kicks off for Friday night in the UP. I'm just thinking here. Because, again, a lot of us, pretty much all of us, will be down in Kalamazoo tomorrow at the meet and greet at Latitude 42, so feel free again to RSVP to that if you guys want to come meet us. Otherwise, you can see us again on Saturday and Sunday. But Ryan got you guys covered this weekend, and he may have a briefing out tomorrow afternoon or evening before severe weather hits again, just to kind of go over models again and whatnot. Otherwise, we'll always obviously have our forecast, our physical forecast post on our page. Facebook is the main page that we use. Again, search Michigan Storm Chasers on Facebook. We have about 469,000 of you guys now. And that is 100. As where 100% of our forecast posts will always be posted. Additionally, you can find some of those on X and Instagram and Threads as well at the username MI Storm Chasers. But before I hop off, I'm going to give a shout out to the mods in here tonight. Thank you guys for helping out with the stream. Appreciate you guys for taking time out of your night to help out and communicate with everyone and help post links for the people that need it. Also, I see Kalamazoo Candy in here with a $5 super chat saying, "Hope you have fun in the zoo this weekend." Thank you very much. We will definitely do our best at having fun, and again, we hope to see a lot of you guys there if you guys are watching. But before we end the stream, thank you again for that super chat. Got to go through our sponsors as always. Can't do it without them here at MSC. So feel free to give them your business. Each one of these businesses that you'll see listed off are licensed and insured. And as always, if you ever need storm relief during or after a severe weather event, you can reach out to us behind the scenes at MSC, and we'll get you in contact with the nearest sponsor to your location if you need exterior roof insurance adjustments and other stuff needed after a storm has rolled through. So feel free to check out these sponsors, starting out with Storm Guard Roofing and Construction, based out of North Metro Detroit. Lifestyle Exteriors, based out of Central Michigan. Katz Roofing and Siding, based out of Potterville. Pro Powder, based out of South Haven. Mike Hayes Roofing and Siding, and that is based out of St. Lake and St. Clair counties. McKay Tree Specialist for all of your tree needs across Southeast Michigan. And in West Michigan, you can turn to Kuiper Tree Care. For all of your barn dominium needs across the Lower Peninsula, turn to FBI Buildings. On Top Roofing, our Livingston County sponsor. Schneider Commercial Building Solutions for all of your commercial roofing needs, based out of Lansing. Also based out of Lansing is Shield Public Adjusters for all of your insurance adjustment needs. Also in our list of sponsors, Top Gun Roofing and Exteriors, based out of West Michigan. A-Class Construction and Restoration, based out of Ludington, Mason County area. Rainbow Restoration, based out of Kent County in Wyoming, Michigan. Rapid Radios, our premier sponsor of the day. If you need any LTE wireless radios, feel free to turn to Rapid Radios. Guardian Technologies for all of your security camera needs, based out of Burton, Michigan. And again, we have a wide weather camera network being set up by Guardian Technologies each and every day. Appreciate them for the support there. You can also donate to the Ronald McDonald House of Detroit, the number on the screen. Last two sponsors, American Arbor, based out of Southwest Michigan. And lastly, Apex Restoration and Mitigation, based out of Grand Blanc. Those are all of our sponsors here at MSC. We'll go through the forecasted radar loop once more here. We'll just run through the RFS because it does go through the entire weekend. What it has projected for the next at least couple of days. So this is going to be for tomorrow night, Friday night. Across the UP is the only concern there. It has a little bit of a later start, closer to midnight, 1 to 2 a.m. And then we get into Saturday, and it throws down a squall line from 4 o'clock and later through this about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and 12 o'clock, with more storms rolling into West and Central Michigan by midnight Saturday. But again, this will change. We have a fresh new 0Z run coming out within the next hour or two for pretty much all of these models. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And again, we'll use these latest updated models here coming out in an hour for our forecast tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Be on standby. Make sure you're following us on Facebook primarily, Michigan Storm Chasers, for all of our forecast posts. And again, as we move this into Sunday, really just that boundary kind of sits across the area, kind of wobbles back and forth a little bit. Pop-up showers and storms are possible on Sunday, not expected currently to be severe, but we'll keep an eye on it as further models come in. 199 super chat from Steely here. How does Rockford look? Rockford in the clear for Friday. Saturday, really have to start watching out in the afternoon and evening hours for widespread severe, and then Saturday into Sunday as well. It's going to be primarily that Saturday evening to Sunday night time frame for pretty much all southern and central Michigan. If you're further north, then it's going to be a little bit of an earlier start on Saturday and even into Friday for portions of the UP. So hopefully that answers your question there. Once again, follow us on Facebook for all of our forecast posts, YouTube for all of our videos. And again, we do have 2 YouTube channels now. Number 1, subscribe to us here on our main channel, Michigan Storm Chasers. The username is MI Storm Chasers. And for those who might be out of the loop, maybe just be watching us on YouTube, we have a secondary YouTube channel, as mentioned, for our 24/7 live cameras. We have 3, I think 4 actually now. We just added Charlotte today, but we have Burton, Imlay City, Grand Blanc, and our Charlotte cams are now all running 24/7, 365 days a year, now live on our alternate YouTube channel, Michigan Weather Network. The tag for that is Michigan Weather Network 1, no spaces, or just type in Michigan Weather Network on YouTube and you'll find our 24/7 weather camera network. And again, we're going to have a lot more 24/7 cameras getting set up. We're very excited to bring these to you guys. Our very popular Manistee cam and our latest camera that was installed today, our Ludington camera at the beach there in Ludington. Both of those cameras will be 24/7 cameras very soon as well, so you do not want to miss out. Hit that subscribe button today on our alternate YouTube channel, Michigan Weather Network. It is free to do if you have a Google account, so check it out if you haven't already. Otherwise, all of our other briefings can be found on other social media platforms such as Twitch TV and X. Again, I'm Chief Meteorologist Joel Fritzma. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight on this shorter briefing. If you need any information, you missed any of this, feel free to rewind back to the beginning of the stream and catch yourself right up. And hopefully it will make a lot of sense in the long run. You'll also go back and watch my cat interrupt the briefing as well. His name is Hurricane, by the way, for those who are new here. But yeah, feel free to go back and check the stream if you are just tuning in. And we'll catch you guys later, probably tomorrow for another severe weather briefing. And as always, stay safe out there. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the heat. And we'll catch you next time here at Michigan Storm Chasers. Hope you have a great night. See you soon, and maybe see you tomorrow at the Latitude 42 in Oshtemo and Portage. See you guys later.